online spaces are no longer safe for women and sexual rights activists. So these FTX modules are here to help trainers train women and sexual rights activists on how to stay safe online, on how to be able to enjoy technology safely, on how to be able to express themselves safely online without fear of intimidation or being abused online.
One of the questions, like, maybe I'm always thinking, why does it happen? Why does gender-based violence actually happen? Like, because in some societies, it's actually very normalized. Like, it's something normal. Yeah. In some cultures, in different countries, it's really normal. Violence towards girls, young women. Like, it's accepted as a social norm. And I think that's why this training is so important. This module is so important because, it's a matter of urgency right now. It's something we need to address, like, seriously. Hello, good people. My name is Nick Kanali, and welcome to FTX Reboot Module Podcast. It's a new series of podcasts we are doing with Cecilia.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cecilia Maundu. I'm a specialist in gender digital security training. I'm a broadcast journalist, and I'm also a tech blogger. FTX stands for Feminists Tech Exchange, and it's made up of several modules. But first, before we get into the modules, we need to find out and we need to ask ourselves, who is it for?
Yeah.
Feminist Tech Exchange is for digital security trainers working with women's rights and sexual rights on digital safety. Yes. So this is basically for trainers. It has a feminist approach to it, a feminist approach to digital security training. Yes. So FTX explores how we occupy the spaces online. As we know that online spaces are no longer safe for women and sexual rights activists. So these FTX modules are here to help trainers train women and sexual rights activists on how to stay safe online, on how to be able to enjoy technology safely, on how to be able to express themselves safely online without fear of intimidation or being abused online.
Yeah, because let's agree, it's really prevalent right now. There are a lot of harassment, women being harassed online. I'm sure you've seen this online, even Kenyans on Twitter, every other platforms. Women are really being harassed. And I think FTX module comes at the right time when this messaging to be actually passed out to ensure, like, how do we ensure women are safe online? What platforms or what measures we need to put around to ensure actually we have this safety?
Because the digital world basically is where everything is taking place. And if we are to achieve anything, women have to feel safe. And not only women, even sexual rights activists, they have to feel safe online. Then what do we do to make sure that we help them or give them the mechanism for them to be safe online? Yes. Under the FTX, we have several modules. And in the course of this podcast, we are going to be covering 4 modules. We are going to be talking about online gender-based violence. We are going to look at it as a module. We are going to look at creating safe spaces online. We are going to look at mobile safety. And we are going to look at what we call self-care. Our first module is going to be online gender-based violence. It's going to be the foundation of these modules. We are going to look at the different forms of online gender-based violence and how this module can be used by trainers to be able to educate people on online gender-based violence. By the end of this module, people will be able to understand the different forms of online gender-based violence because people have been violated online, but they don't know that they've been violated online. So this module, first of all, we dedicate the different forms of online gender-based violence, understand the continuum of violence between online and offline, and the strategies and action in which people can counter on gender-based violence. Yes. What are the learning activities on this module? One of the activities, which is very important, trainers, there's something called online gender-based violence or not. So how do we go about this activity? So this activity, first of all, this activity is designed to spark debate among the participants that you're having as a security trainer. Yes. So what you do is you come up with several types of online gender-based violence, and then the methodology of this is you put it out there to your participant. You give them different example and you ask them, do you think this is online gender-based violence or it's not? This is a way of knowing if they know the different types of online gender-based violence. You are trying to get to know how knowledgeable they are on online gender-based violence, so that you can know as a trainer where to start when it comes to your training. So when you do this, you're able to learn if they have understood what is online gender-based violence, or they are not clear about what is online gender-based violence. It is basically a way of making sure that they understand what is online gender-based violence. So this activity is ideally for participants who have an understanding of women's rights, and generally if they know the different feminist principles. Yes.
So how do you decide who to work with when it comes to who to interview, to just send these questions to ask about this? How do you decide that?
Well, you don't decide actually. You have your participants there. It's a group activity, so you are doing it on the day of the training. Yes. Under these modules, there are several activities. That is the best part of Feminists Tech Exchange modules, because it's more of activities. The participants are involved. And when the participants are involved, it becomes more of a symbiotic relationship. So you as a trainer, you are also able to learn something from the participants. So it's not a one-way traffic, rather it becomes a two-way traffic. And then there's deepening activities in this module. So deconstructive online gender-based violence. You take a case and you put it outside there, and you ask them what is their reaction to this case. So depending, you can have different cases. You can take a real case which has happened, or you can rather create your own thing, and you put it outside there for them to be able to come up with answers regarding that case. And then we have a very exciting game under this. It's called Take Back the Take. Take Back the Take is a game that was created by APC, Association of Progressive Communication. The purpose of Take Back the Take game is to be able to, first of all, understand online gender-based violence, and also to see how we can form a support network when an issue occurs, when someone is harassed online. Under online gender-based violence, there are different activities, online GBV or not. And then there's more, you go into a deeper meaning of online gender-based violence. So you give your participants a scenario. So you have a survivor, the person who's been harassed, the aggressor, the survivor, which gender is your survivor, socioeconomic activity, race, religion, and also where that incident took place, the country, the laws, and then now you put it outside there. And then you start asking questions. How do you think they would have responded? What are the laws in that country? This is just a way of getting deeper into online gender-based violence and how it can be tackled. And then there's the Take Back the Take game, which was created by APC. Take Back the Take game is is a group game. So it goes to what I said earlier. All these modules are more of participants participating in the training, being actively involved in the training. And one thing I have noticed as a digital security trainer is if you're not very careful, you can get boring along the way, because you're giving people, all you're doing is giving. Sometimes the participants want to know how useful or resourceful they can be. And the more they feel resourceful, the more they are energized and the more they want to take part in the training. It's the same way when we were in school. When the teacher comes in class and talks the whole day, it becomes very boring. But when it becomes more of a discussion, they give you an opportunity to be useful. As I said earlier, one of the good things about the online gender-based violence module is their different activities. And we talked about online GBV And then now there's Take Back the Tech game, which is my favorite. First of all, it's very interesting.
Taken part in it.
Because I've taken part in it, and I can tell you, the first time, it was something extraordinary.
No intensive.
Because my participants just they lit up, and it was very exciting.
It was not intensive. Or...
Well, one of the things it does, it removes the mentality that digital security is such a technical thing. It makes it it makes the environment very friendly for learning. Yes. So Take Back the Tech game, you can choose 3 scenarios from it. First of all, this game was developed in order to get participants to strategize for actions to address online gender-based violence. You see, it's a symbiotic relationship. So everyone is important, from the trainer to the participants. It was basically to bring in the issue of getting solutions to online gender-based violence. So in this game, you create 3 scenarios. You can choose from 3 scenarios: trolled on Twitter, faked on Facebook, blackmailed. So because in Kenya we are a tweeting nation, let's talk about trolled on Twitter, because that's the order of the day here. So under this game, there are 3 teams. There are 2 survivor teams. And then there's a 3rd team, which is called the public team. So one of the learning objective is for the one of the learning objective in this activity this game is designed to gather strategies of responses, in particular to escalating situation, to learn about the different responses when an online gender-based violence scenario has taken place. And as I said, you have the survivor team A, survivor team B, and then there is the public. And then you present a scenario. And then the public are able to judge and try and come up with a solution to this case.
This has to be a real-time scenario, a real-life scenario.
You can create a scenario or you can get a real scenario. So this game takes about 90 minutes. So it depends if you have time in your training. And also depends on how much time you've allocated to the training, because sometimes you only have 1 day training, so sometimes it can be a bit challenging. So there's survivor team A, survivor team B, and then there's the public. So you give them different scenarios, and as we said, we are going to pick on trolled on Twitter. The team that wins the game is the one which gets more responses from the public. So depending on the scenario that you have chosen, in our case, we've talked about trolled on Twitter. Maybe the other group will pick blackmailed
or faked on Twitter.
Or faked on Facebook.
On Facebook.
So depending on how much responses that we get from the public, that is the team that will be able to win. The core business of Take Back the Tech is to be able to get more responses and strategies on how to counter online gender-based violence.
And the game is played in 5 rounds? Or
it is played in 5 rounds, and that's why I said, depending on how much time you have, in total it takes about 90 minutes. Yes, that's an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which should be enough.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, after we had all this conversation, how do you summarize FTA, Feminists Tech Exchange, to someone who's learning this for the first time?
What I can say is FTX, Feminists Tech Exchange, is a training curriculum. It is made up of several modules. And it was basically designed for trainers, digital security trainers who are dealing with women rights activists and sexual rights activists. And trainers should be familiar with the obstacles and challenges faced where censorship and surveillance are restricting activities, freedom of expression, and ability to share information, create alternative economies, build communities of solidarities, and express desires. Why the FTX? It explores how we occupy online spaces, how women are represented online, how we can counter discourse and norms that contribute to discrimination and violence online. It is also about strategies of representation of expressions and also trying to get responses on how to deal with online gender-based violence. Yes. FTX emphasizes the role of women in technology. It prioritizes appropriate and sustainable technologies and is framed by the feminist principles of the internet.
Yes, so thank you so much, guys, for listening to our first episode of FTX podcast. Remember, as we said when we were first introducing the podcast, it's a series of podcasts that we'll be doing with Cecilia, just trying to understand the FTX model, how it works. And yes, what will we be discussing in the next episode?
So our next module, today we discussed online gender-based violence module, whereby the trainer will be able to make sure their participants understand the different forms of online gender-based violence and how to counter them. So our next module is going to be creating safe online spaces.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much for listening. And again, where can this material be found? Content just around FTX.
Yes, this material can be found on www.ftxreboot.wiki.apc.org.
Okay. My name is Nick.
My name is Cecilia Maundo. Looking forward to our next podcast.
Yes. Bye-bye.
This podcast has been brought to you by the generous funding of APC. APC is Association of Progressive Communication, which is a network of social activists who use the internet to make the world a better place.